To reiterate Ruth's point, welcome everybody. So everybody here, you have to do, whether you've signed for a 2-year MSc, you're doing, starting in March, in week and a half, 2 weeks time, you're going to do the PG Dip year, yes? Starting with PG Dip Module 1, yes? Correct? Brilliant. You're all in the right place. Fantastic. Already introduced myself, which is great. So I'm the link officer, okay, for the university. So I day-to-day link with our collaborative provider, which is Learner, Diploma MSc, okay, who are the experts. That's kind of your first protocol. They're running your whole learning experience, okay, but my job is to quality assure, okay, obviously regulation process and everything that's required because you get the University of South Wales degree stamp on it. Those who are doing sport and exercise medicine, okay, so clinical exercise physiology is my background, so I tutor on the sport and exercise medicine as well. Okay, so you may have me within your first tutor group. I'll explain tutor groups. There's more than one tutor running a group depending on the size of the course, but we'll get to that. Okay, as Ruth said, the portfolios expanded significantly, so I've been nearly full-time as the link officer on this. Okay, and it's been an exponential rise. When we started off, there were 1 or 2 courses. Okay, diabetes, endocrinology were the forebearers. Sport and exercise medicine came on board as a 3rd course, and it's been an exponential rise over the last 4 or 5 years. Okay, so you joined it. You know, this will be, I anticipate, our biggest cohort entrant. Okay, so we're in the 450 new starters, if you like. So an impressive portfolio, the size of some of the schools within the university in its own right. Okay, this bit is to talk through a little bit to navigate you through what's going to go on. Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview of the course, how the PG Dip works. Okay, what is a PG Dip in university speak? Okay, it's kind of got an international recognition what a postgraduate diploma is, but what does that need to be for the university to verify? Okay, so all of your courses are validated by us here, the University of South Wales. They're quality assured by our University of South Wales quality assurance mechanism. Like I say, as collaborative delivery, you pretty much have the best of both worlds because you would expect experts within a university, but you can imagine the spread of the expertise now. This would be equivalent to a UK medical school in its own right, but Learner have that expertise within their tutor bank and tutoring staff, okay, and you get then all the support mechanisms from the university. Your first point of call, and I'll come on to this, I would say has to be Learner and your student support as you're already doing it because they're experts in online support, okay, navigating with you, talking you through the course. Okay, if a university system needs to come in place behind that, that's linked through to me, and then I take it through the university system. Okay, so sometimes we have students contacting the university direct. My first very early plea, okay, is your first contact will be with the Learner Support Office, okay, because this university is nearly 30,000 plus students with 4 faculties across the spread of disciplines. Okay, a telephone call into the university can take then some time to find its way through to the right place, whereas Learner know who you are, know what course you're on straight away. Okay, so some students try and tease out, well, where am I going to go if there's a problem? Go straight to the Learner support online, okay, and all the other mechanisms they have for you to contact them, and then it will come to me, and then I will take it through the university if it needs additional support. Okay, so we'll go through the overview of the course, modules, aims and objectives. Now, I'm not going to read out every module aim and objective, okay, because you get all of those within the Moodle platform as you're doing a module. I'll show you now. And then within what you call your handbook. So if you've done a degree before, which pretty much everyone has, because this is postgraduate entry, okay, you know, your student handbook is everything. All your student handbooks are online or on the portfolio. So your connection to the support in the world really is through your interacting and getting all the information appropriately from the site. But I'll pick out some of those, key points. Teaching methods, clearly it varies. Okay, it's going to vary because it's 100% online. Okay, and I'll talk about some of the pitfalls and what some of the ideas people get about 100% online delivery. Okay, it's not a quicker, easier option. Okay, it's a calendar year. There is intensity involved. It's a more flexible. Okay, I think, because it's part of my job, I think it's the new way of delivering university courses. This university is looking to roll out more and more of its education online. Okay, so there's some do's and don'ts in terms of when a course is 100% online. You're here, okay, if you think, so we filled a reasonable room, there's 25, 30 of you, but 450, say, are starting in March. So you can imagine how many are out there in the internet ether, okay? How many are out there that don't physically come to a university and get that first stage, but all this goes online. We'll look through assessment and marking. That's what everyone wants to know, right? Well, how am I going to be assessed? What's the format of it? And then some of the support and expectations. Okay, so the course, so the PG Dip, which is the first kind of section you do. Now, these are calendar year courses. So you go March to March, you start March, and September to September. So there's always a cohort coming behind you. Okay, so you can imagine kind of the tidal wave of students as it comes through. Okay, so they're calendar years. Now, traditionally, universities run September for an enrollment, which some learner have a September point, but then they would finish by the following summer, by the exams in July time. Okay, again, that's a traditional model that even universities across the world, especially in the UK, especially this university, kind of sees, is there a, you know, is it time to break the mold of that traditional cycle? We've been doing it for 6, 7, 8 years, okay? Depending on which course you pick, how long it's been running. So they're calendar years, okay? So you're in it and for that first cycle until your PG Dip finishes, okay? Credit speak, okay? You're gonna do 6 modules and they're 20 credits each, okay? You need no more, kind of don't need to get involved. You're doing 6 modules, okay? They obviously have a university credit weighting to it. Okay, that comes into play sometimes with CPD applications and sometimes with external verification. They ask for how many credits did you study. Okay, other external verification sources, depending on the course you've done, ask, you know, was there any attendance, course attendance, was it 100% online? These are classed as 100% online delivery. Okay, you're not coming here, apart from today, for any of your delivery. You're getting it where you are, flexibly, around the world, fantastic, as we've seen, around the UK, within your workplace. Okay, so absolutely the flexibility, which I imagine was one of the major draws for you. Okay, a part-time course, okay, flexible, okay, it's on you. There's a demand on you, but you pick when you're gonna kind of, you know, commit yourself to those set periods of demand, okay? There is an intensity, okay? That's, again, kind of my major light flashing. Okay, speaking to some students before, they were like, well, I didn't think it was going to be this intense. You're doing 120 credits at M level, as we call it, level 7, okay, which is validated by the university, so it has to meet that standard, okay, so it's comparable with any master's program. So the first year in its own right, okay, that might be you. You may step off after that. That's absolutely fine. If everything's through, you've got a clean profile, okay, you've got 120 credits, you get your PG Dip in whatever your medical specialism within your course, okay, within that. Okay, so 6 modules, 6 weeks, okay, so as you're trying to remember the 6s. They run sequentially, okay, so all of you start module 1 in March, okay, you go through that for 6 weeks, thankfully, which a lot of students like. So I always do module 1, which module 1's always the ironing out, right? You can imagine by the time you get to module 6, you know what it's all about. Okay, so module 1 over the first few weeks, that's where you'll see the intensity of support mechanisms around you as well. Okay, in terms of continued asking. That's why the tutors, so I get to verify all tutors as well that come through. Okay, so I have to do a process in the university that gives a tutor on our course. It's equivalent to an associate lecturer position, so they're a registered tutor with the University of South Wales. Okay, so the tutor's there, but the tutors on module 1 have a bit more of an additional responsibility because it's that new module coming in to make sure you all know exactly what the requirements are, you know, what the engagement process is with the module. Okay, fortunately there's 2 weeks, so you do 6 weeks, there's a 2-week hiatus. Okay, so the 6 weeks you've done all of the academic components and requirements that's required. You get a 2-week breathing space, okay, which is to pretty much, and most students tell me that's a nice recovery time, okay, where they not constantly thinking about, I've got to log on, I've got to do this. So there is a 2-week period there, and then your next module is going to start, okay? And they run sequentially. So you can't pick and choose what module you're going to do. You've got to do module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over the 12 months, okay? There's obviously modules coming behind you. We'll talk about that in terms of recovering elements of activities, okay? The tutor groups, which I mentioned in when we weren't recording with Ruth, the tutor groups, now it's going to depend, okay, on the size of your module. So how many students are starting in 2 weeks' time on your particular course. And it varies dramatically. Okay, so our largest subscribers fluctuate sometimes, that you pretty much say an average over the last 3 years. Sport and exercise medicine, diabetes, endocrinology, dermatology's exploded in terms of the size of the course. Okay, there may be 1 or 2 sometimes on a cycle that equally there. So if a course starts with more than 15 students, okay, there's going to be multiple tutor groups, so multiple tutors. Okay, multiple tutors. Now, absolutely, without question, I've tasked myself with making sure that there's no difference in terms of, you know, so random allocation to what tutor you have and within your tutor group. Okay, sometimes there can be 3 tutor groups on a course. So throughout that 12 months, you may not clearly engage with everyone that's on your course, because you're gonna stick within that tutor group as it goes through. Okay, different tutor for each module, but the cohort of students you're with, okay, that's what we'll go through with you. Okay, so that's just a contextualizing, yeah, when you're all in a couple of weeks starting to introduce yourself, okay, that there could be a number of other groups around there, but maximum, okay, around the 15 student mark. Okay, and no difference in terms of what tutor you get, what groups, you're all doing exactly the same thing, okay, and an equitable standard of delivery. Okay. So, you go through the PG dip, okay, like I said, you may exit, okay, there's equivalency there, that might be what you need professionally, clinically, you know, aspirationally, as you want to step off your PG dip, okay. The good thing is it's kind of banked, okay, because you can come back to us, you don't have to go straight through, you can come back to us in the future as well, okay. What you might want to do, though, is straight away you may get the bug, okay, and then that's been an intense commitment, because that's 2 years straight off, straight through. Some of you may have already said you absolutely are keen to do that now, which is brilliant. So now we do offer the opportunity to enroll for the 2-year MSc. I would say the majority of students want to see how it goes. Just do the PG dip, and then they'll see if they're going to go for the MSc. I think it's important, and not to scare anyone, okay, that, you know, nothing is absolutely guaranteed. You know, your progression onto the MSc is going to be how you've performed over that PG dip as well. You know, and clearly, like I said before, you need a clean profile on your PG dip, past everything, to then progress. Okay, so also get in your mind, because sometimes I have emails and discussions with students, you know, well, of course I was going to go on to the MSc. Well, there's academic rigor and standard behind this. No, you're not automatically going to progress. Okay, that is determined by your portfolio and the strength of your performance. Pretty much everybody does, but I think it's important to put that out there. So the MSc year, that's another 12 months after. Like I said, the good thing, you could come back to this in a year, 2 years after. Okay, you get that professional, you know, something happens in your professional life, personal life, or you just want that break. It's been quite intense. You can come back. There, Ruth currently is talking through the elements of that program. Okay, so within there, as you'd expect to define an MSc from the taught component, is again very similar setup to the PG dip modules, a research methods module. Okay, it lasts a bit longer, and the activities obviously in discussions related to research methods and critical appraisal within your specific area, and you see it lasts twice as long, 12 weeks. Okay, and then the rest of the year, okay, is a professional project, as you would expect. Okay, now there's things in red, italics, flashing up there. Okay, now this is our professional projects. Okay, so we'll say it as early as possible on induction day. Okay, you are strongly, I can't say any more stronger than that, advised, okay, primary data collection on human participants. Okay, animal models is not within the time does not allow for that level of ethical approval, high risk ethical approval from the university, plus depending on where you're working, that could be NHS if it's UK, or your own equivalent health system where you are around the world. If you're collecting data outside of the UK, which you've heard from everyone who's travelled, some, you know, and a majority that haven't travelled are based outside of the UK, there's a whole nother level of legislation that your university has to employ, because in essence, if you're doing a data collection on one of the university's courses, which you are, albeit collaborative delivery, they're in essence sponsoring the project. Okay, so this is clinical audit. If data's already available, you're not conducting primary data. Okay, so that's for something to think about in the future, but absolutely, in terms of good practice, we get that out there as soon as possible. Okay, so people, you know, nothing's hidden. Okay, we'll say very much explicitly from the start. Okay, that's the guidance, very, very strong guidance from that. And of course, if, you know, a student goes off, starts collecting data, primary data collection, and they haven't got ethical approval, and the tutor said, you know, you cannot do this project, then kind of you're on your own. You've done a project that then will get 0, can't be submitted for the project. Okay. Aims of the course, they're level 7 MSc. That includes the PG Dip year. Okay, so you'll see of your course aims, okay, and then module aims and objectives, okay, it very much is at the level 7. Now, this is quite university speak. Level 7, so an undergraduate degree is level 4, 5, and 6, okay, in terms of UK higher education speak. This is level 7, postgraduate. Okay, you've all got professional equivalency and or, okay, university degree, undergraduate degrees that vary. Okay, your tutor group, okay, and again, the overriding strength of this program is the variety and depth and breadth of experience that each student cohort you're in brings. Okay, so where certain professions, okay, so you could be with GPs, okay, let's pick sport and exercise medicine, you could be with GPs, sports therapists, physiotherapists, okay, medical doctor to a Premier League football team. Okay, now they're going to bring a wealth of experience within there and favour some topics within discussion, others having to go over material they may have learnt in their undergraduate degree some years ago. But that adds to the fantastic peer support programme you get. That's a real strength of this course. Okay, so it's level 7, okay, and it's high level university kind of terminology in terms of what you're going to do on top of that. So it is evaluating scientific evidence, okay, it is developing or critically evaluating, we call it criticise, but critically evaluating models of care, okay, could be even discussing about guidelines, okay, international, national, relative to where you are, or a comparison between the two, okay. So again, to put that in as early as possible in your induction, okay, you're on a level 7 program, which comes into when I show you about assessment and tutor evaluation of the work you're submitting within there. Okay, like I said, I'm not going through all the module aims. Okay, each of the 6 modules then have specific, so the course overall has module aims between the PG, course aims between the PG Dip and the MSc. Okay, defined aims for each element of the course, and then each module has aims. Okay, so the kind of phrased as by the end of the module you will be able to. Okay, that's how we do it in higher education type speak. So by the end of the module, okay, if you complete it successfully, these are the aims and the direction of study. Okay, so each PG Dip, what you've got to do for those 6 weeks, okay, there's a nominal 200 hours. Now some students see this and go, how on earth am I going to be able to do 200 hours over 6 weeks along with everything else I've got to do? Okay, now the university and quality assurance mechanisms within the university, okay, dictate that there has to be a nominal amount, you know. So from very early on, a student can see kind of the type of level of demand, and the university can see the rigour that's involved in terms of the programme, okay. Whether you do that's not going to be assessed, okay. That's a nominal amount, okay. But obviously your performance on the module is going to be determined by your engagement with the module, okay. So we're saying to successfully, very successfully complete the module, it's going to be an intense period of time. You're not counting hours, you don't, you know, there's nothing logged down in terms of counting hours you've done, so I don't want you to be put off when you see the 200 hours. That's a nominal figure. So at level 7, if it's a 20 credit module, okay, you've done equivalent of 200 hours nominal work within that module. Okay? what's in realization, what's it like? Well, so in 2 weeks' time, when you log on, start a module 1 on that Monday morning, okay, well, there's a variety of assessments, okay? So over that 6-week period, and like I say, the 2 weeks at the end comes as some nice respite from that, okay, in terms of not, being within that cycle of what you have to do, but it's dictated by your level of engagement, okay? So you will be regularly, it's 100% online, so you need to be online. Okay, we can talk about support mechanisms if something happens, right? So geographically, sometimes people have issues with their IT infrastructure. That's absolutely fine. We've got mechanisms to cope with that. Okay, generally it's absolutely fine, but clearly, anything can happen worldwide with certain students in cohorts engaged on that. So that's going to determine. Okay, that's going to determine your success in terms of your regular online activity. Okay, so at bare minimum, 3 times per week. Okay, I say that's going to be, you're going to be way over that. Okay, you will be way over that. But the beauty is it's flexible. Okay, now you may have something really intense in work. Okay, but after that you can leave that, and this might be a nice, well, it's going to have to be a nice respite from what's going on within your professional domain. Okay, it might be that you have hours within your working day that you can also do some of this. Okay, so it's entirely up to you those times, and you'll see within your tutor group, okay, a spread of times. Everything's relative to GMT, okay, UK time, but you'll see when everyone's logging on. So it becomes a great flow, okay, a really good flow, because there's never really a break. You've had a break, but when you log back on, you can see everything's time stamped when people posted, discussions are on there, okay, when work's been uploaded. So it's asynchronous, unlike a university course where you turn up for a 9 o'clock lecture, if you miss it, it's gone. Okay, there's ultimate flexibility within this program. Okay, there is a reflection element. That's been key. Okay, you've all been accepted to the course, but a key bit we look at within the application process is, can you reflect from the course to your professional practice? Because you have a reflective portfolio element. Okay, so can you go both ways? Can you go, well, we were talking about element X in the module this week, and then I had a patient or a client, to whatever your professional orientation is, turn up, and I could talk to them about X. Okay, so that reflective across. So we have applicants, and by no means, not everyone does not get onto these courses. Okay, you have to have that undergraduate background, professional orientation, to the discipline, and the ability to reflect in clinical practice. Okay, so they're key elements that you've been assessed on in terms of your application. So, I've said it a few times, but I can't say it enough. There is a demand. Okay, there is a fairly significant demand that's going to be on you in terms of your reading, reflection, preparation, okay, and your engagement through the assessment elements. Okay, so those 6 modules, okay, don't change unless there's a minor, okay, so hardly any modules have changed. But at the university, we have a continual review process where there may be some tweaks in titles, okay, tweaks in module content, okay, refreshing module content. Every 6 years, the course has to be revalidated. Okay, so in your time, I doubt you will see a change in the module. Okay, you won't. Okay, but if you speak to someone who did it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there may have been some adjustments. Okay, so this is just taking rheumatology. So those doing rheumatology, this is exactly what you will be doing. Okay, so sport and exercise medicine, completely different. The topics relative there. Cosmetic medicine, completely different. Okay, so these modules always run in sequence. So starting with module 1, epidemiology and pathophysiology. Okay, that lasts for 6 weeks, 2 weeks break. And then, so 8 weeks after this has started, module 2 starts. Then module 3. Okay, so that takes you through your 12 months, your calendar year. Okay, so each module, absolutely particular aspect of your chosen discipline. So the modules you will do, okay, and we think they're incredibly well-placed modules, okay, titles of modules, exciting, frontline, okay, sometimes really, and I don't say it lightly, world-pushing paradigms within the module content that's discussed. Okay, we were one of the first of using social media as an educational forum tool. Okay, this course program lends itself to it. So people engaging with social media, specifically, Twitter, Facebook, about course, content module and discussion that's element to there. Okay, so there'll be nuances, specifics depending on the exact course you're doing. Okay, so absolutely directly related to the clinical content of your course, and you go through them sequentially in that order. Okay, how will you learn? Okay, well, this kind of is absolutely the secret ingredient and the magic ingredient that made these courses so successful. A variety of elements. Okay, a main one is the push is 100% online. Okay, is that you haven't got, as you're doing now, someone like me stood up here given a standard lecture format. Okay, there's a variety of elements. Now, you may have a tutor who posts an in-depth topic of discussion. It might be a tutor who's a leader in their field and give you 3 or 4 of their published articles, okay, to discuss and relevant to the field. Again, that's going to depend on your tutor to a small degree, okay, but it's pretty much standardized across the tutors, okay, and the course you're on, okay, but it's very much androgyny versus pedagogy, okay, not someone stood up there just giving you a bulk load of material, but you, okay, driving your self-directed learning, okay. Absolutely, it supports across the clinical disciplines, you know, for you that have clinical lives, demands, professional aspects put upon you, okay. Multiple assessments, I'm coming to that now, okay, and learning through activities and conversation, okay. So there is a very large element of this assessment. There's bits of work you do on your own, okay, but the majority of it will be peer-to-peer learning and support. Okay, so someone discussing a topic, others, you know, like as a critical friend would, okay, and that's what we do. We don't encourage within the groups, you know, that you just go straight in there, as sometimes you find in the academic community, and try and completely rip someone's theorem, okay, or idea to part. But a critical friend about that's interest, but have you considered X, Y, and Z? Okay, and here's my supporting evidence of why I do that. So a critical friend, peer-to-peer learning support environment, okay, and that's the real strength of the program, and a social environment. So you have your academic forums, you have your peer-to-peer support forums as well, so a variety of online areas. Okay, so module activities. Okay, so here we get into the, so as you can see, what makes up the 100%? Okay, what do I have to do and how is it split up? Okay, well, there's your academic forum. Okay, so there's your academic forum, okay, which is your large level of engagement. Okay, that's where you have the demand to make sure you keep up your engagement within that academic forum. Okay, that's where you need to at least be posting 3 times a week. I would say that's very much, that is the bare minimum. Okay, you can post as many times as you want, but you need to show you're continually engaged with the relative discussion, you know, within your discipline and within your tutor group that's going on. Your tutor will be closely monitoring that, okay, guiding you within what's being said as a tutor group and possibly individually as well. Okay, so especially in so why the pressure's on tutors, okay, or an additional level of tutoring on module 1 is to make sure everybody starts off and gets to know what they need to do, what the demand expectation on them is. Okay, so I may be chasing students who haven't posted much. It may be starting off as a general message and then some direct messaging in terms of I haven't seen any posts this week. Now, there might be a reason. Okay, sometimes what comes back, you know, I've been away on a conference or clinical work's taken me away for 3 days. At the end of the week, I'll be able to get back on. That's absolutely fine, but it's about continually having that dialogue and letting the tutor know what's going around. Student support may also be interacting with you to say, we haven't seen you, okay? There's nowhere to hide on these programs, and we say that a lot within validations, okay? And the university sees a real strength of that. So also I do a number of lectures to traditional undergraduate on-campus students, okay? You don't know when student X has been turning up to the lecture. Do they turn up to every lecture? Of course they don't, okay? Of course they don't turn up to every lecture. Do we know when you've logged on and engaged with everything? Yes, we do. Okay, nowhere to hide. Likewise, nowhere to hide. The quality of what the tutor's saying is also being assessed by your course director. There's nowhere for them to hide. So you know exactly what's being told to you has been approved and the interaction, you know, looked at. So nowhere in terms of people who want to tutor on the course. Okay, that's a big discussion I have with them in terms of how it's different to usual pedagogy. And no, definitely nowhere for you to have. But that's a real strength. Okay, don't think that that's a pressure that you're going to, it's a real strength. It means that we can, you know, get to support you as early as possible if something goes wrong. Okay, so your academic forum, 40%, nearly half of the demand within there. Okay, module activities. Okay, so there's group and individual work. Okay, so there is an opportunity where you just work on your own on a particular activity. Okay, now that could be a variety of formats. It could be a 1,500 word essay or written work. Okay, it could be producing a poster. Okay, it can be a variety of formats. It's going to depend on the course you're on and the specific module you're doing. Okay, so elements there making up 20% of your module mark. Okay, for the group, that needs some direction and coordination. So again, a module 1, it's about very early seeing who wants to volunteer. It is a volunteer basis, but who wants to volunteer as the group leader. Okay, so in essence there, you're seeing what the question is or what the task is. You're dividing up work amongst your peer group. It is awkward when you've just logged on a Monday and you don't know anyone else and you've just introduced yourself, you know. But there's a number of qualities that come through from that. You know, you're not immediately given an A star for the entire PG Dip if you volunteer as group leader, but it shows your level of engagement. Okay, you also see by module 3 or 4, okay, the social loafers, those who like to take a back step when some work's given out. Okay, so I'll let you judge by how that's managed, but strong encouragement. You can have co-leaders, okay, who may then coordinate group activity, edit the final piece of work, etc. Okay, within that, you know, if you've got 15 in a group, each person is doing not a massive task to contribute to the overall activity. Here's your reflective journal. Okay, so that's on a continual basis from the minute the module starts as it moves through, 10% of the activity. That's that key part of reflecting from module course content to your professional clinical practice and vice versa. And you'll see tutor feedback on that about how you're reflecting. Okay, no set guide. A lot of people do, obviously in clinical practice, reflection is a big element of that. So if you want to use models that you've worked through or been taught to go through before, that's fine. So there's no hard and fast rule, but it needs to be a reflection upon what you're doing. Not just I logged on Monday, okay, I answered this question, and then I logged on again on Tuesday, we did a bit about the group activity. It can be a tiny bit of narrative like that, but a real reflection. And then an end of module exam. Okay, multiple choice, computer-based, timed, you have a window to do it, okay, in terms of that, controlled assessment point throughout there. So that's the divider. Again, I'll take questions at the end about, you know, if you're thinking of particular aspects. I'm conscious on time, I'm doing okay. Academic forum, okay, clinically rich, okay, questions, statements, discussion topics that's been put out there, initially seeded by your tutor, started off, but peer-to-peer. What tutors are looking for is that they can give you, you know, it's relevant to that weekly topic, you know, some controversial, perhaps, or some leading discussion questions around there, and then the rest of the peer group take that on. And like I said, critical friend opportunity. Okay, but absolutely, your tutor is facilitating, your tutor isn't regularly giving it. If the discussion dries up, you may see a few prompts from your tutor, okay? But the tutors who have spent time, okay, and it's pretty much standard across the tutors, seeding those questions early on, so around the Monday time point of the week, okay, and the quality of the peer group will take that discussion on between them, okay? So it could be around module aims, it could be relevant literature, personal experiences, or clinical examples, okay? Personal experience, that can be quite anecdotal. These are academically written, academically presented, so you are going to have, you know, I would suggest, my guidance would be, you know, some personal experience can be okay, especially if it's relating to, of course, all anonymous, patient A, okay, all of those standards are required, anonymity, but also linking back to theory, practice, referenced material, okay? So that's key within that. So some of it may be very theoretical, some of it may be very applied or critically evaluative discussions. But critical friend, I would keep in the back of your mind. Okay, critical friend in terms of the how you discuss amongst your peer group. Okay, leaders need to communicate. Okay, that's if you're a group leader, very quickly into the role, and it's okay on module 1 to tease that out. Okay, if you've been a group leader once, It's very unlikely you're going to be a group leader again. There's only 6 modules, and if you work out the size of your tutor group, you know, everybody needs an opportunity to step up in there. But that shows obviously a number of qualities in terms of management, okay, motivation, communication skills, okay, and an overall coordination of the group. Okay, particular task, now that is going to be very particular to the module you do. Okay, so it's going to be related to, you know, definitely what the topic of the module is, okay, but it's going to be different from your individual task. Okay, so there's going to be a variety of elements in there. Okay, some people start off, you see the initial discussion, you know, do we have to do a group, do we have to do an individual? You have to do both. Okay, you have to do both of those elements to successfully complete the module overall. Okay, so it could be guidelines, it could be audit, it could be educational work, it could be literature review or discussion of a key paper. Okay, it could be develop a poster on a particular academic content. But academic standards absolutely apply. Your reflective journey, I've covered most of these points, but absolutely write in reflectively across each module. So you have to do that for each of the 6 modules. Okay, it's not one reflective journey just for module 1. Okay, it's across all 6. So 6 reflective journeys. So each time you're on a module. Okay, now what you reflect upon is obviously going to depend upon what that module is talking about. Your own learning and objectives, you may have very defined personal learning objectives, what you want from this course. That's you know, this is your time to get that absolute personal reflection. Okay, much more so than the case discussion or the discussion forum. Okay, where you may want to pin in personal experience. You can put a lot, you know, pretty much by definition of your personal reflection within this component. Okay, and positives, okay, we won't call them negatives, we'll call them learning points, perhaps so that your tutor's giving you. Okay, so improve your posts, you know, look at your academic presentation, etc. Okay, I've covered those. Okay, so personal aims, record of reflection, examples of application to practice. End of module test, 30 MCQ questions. Okay, now it can, you know, it can't ask you something from module 6 or module 1. Okay, so it's going to be defined by what you've discussed throughout that module. 30 questions in 1 hour. Okay, and again, you're not coming to the university to take that. That's run through your Moodle platform. Okay, similar format that if you've had questions posted by a tutor in a multiple choice questionnaire standard. Okay, so you'll get used to the standard that's coming out, and there's example questions throughout. Okay, important that just at this stage, your marking discussion. Okay, when you make that for the 40% discussion element, okay, there's a variety of aspects that are looked at. Okay, you don't need to take all of this in or scribble down now. There is a defined module marking grid. It comes up in my next presentation, and it's always contained within your course handbook to reflect back on. Okay, but how does a tutor assess how you've engaged with that discussion forum? Okay, well, across a number of key aspects. Okay, the delivery, academic delivery. Okay, the promptness. So that is, are you discussing something on a Friday for the first time that was posted on a Monday? Okay, so that's your level, unless you've spoken to the tutor about personal, professional limitations for that week. Okay, so promptness of delivery. Relevance, have you just gone off on a completely different topic? Unless you explicitly make the link. Okay, that was a really interesting discussion. I found this paper, this concept that links to that. But okay, so that's a great strength. You've moved the discussion on in the peer-to-peer forum. Okay, your English language written expression, so quality of writing, okay, and your engagement with the community. Okay, so that's why English language is assessed within your application form as well. Okay, so the quality of that academic written work. Engagement with your peer group. Okay, so again, don't hide. There is nowhere to hide. Okay, that is a very important element that you give your priority in terms of your interaction. Okay, some examples in response to a thread where the following questions. This is related to the diabetes course, yeah. Glycemic control in people with poor cardiovascular disease. So that's what the tutor or a fellow student posted in terms of, you know, what do you think about these? Okay, there's a fail. Okay, you don't need me to explain why that was a fail, looking at those points that the tutors look at. Yeah, it was great, end of, log off. I've gone. Well, they can see I logged on and answered. No. Okay, level 7, okay, it's not the easier route to do it online, definitely not. There's a different level of interaction and intensity. Okay, so you can see the individual scores of why that was absolutely a fail. Contrast that, okay, with an excellent, absolutely an excellent post, okay, in terms of directly tagging out. I'll give you some more assessment elements, examples in my second talk. Okay, so yes, you can write first person. In more written academic work, not, you don't write in first person as in I would. You would say the author suggests. But within the post, that's okay. Excellent, references throughout, okay, and cited. Okay, that's a key part. They're academic posts. Okay, so the academic standards of writing, okay, and the academic pitfalls exist within there. Okay, so an overall score, okay, and obviously you'll be have feedback to your posts throughout as well. So you'll know if you're interested. You can directly ask your tutor, okay, at the start, the first week, how were those posts? Okay, that's what the tutor's there for, to do that. Okay, I can't emphasize this as much. Okay, they are academic. It's like you're submitting an essay with all of those posts put together. Okay, so poor academic writing, poor academic expression, cutting and pasting. Okay, it's level 7. You expect master's students to be cutting and pasting. Absolutely not. The PG DIP is a master's element program. Okay, your academic primary offence, plagiarism. Okay, it's academic fraud. Okay, you're taking someone else's ideas and putting them as yourself. We are experts, and we have to be with online. Okay, and all of your posts are put through plagiarism software, and we're experts at picking that up. Okay, across. Okay, so there's a variety of elements you can pick out to see, and we have software that automatically matches and picks up if you've just lifted that content from somewhere else. That's 0. Okay, that's fail. Okay, right-click copy, right-click paste. Okay, it just can't happen. Okay, so be aware of that. So that's from your post. That's for all of your work, but what you're posting on that discussion forum isn't exempt from academic standards. Okay, there's your kind of in thirds between those group activities. Okay, individual and group activity. Okay, across there, your individual component, your group component, okay, and what you contributed to the group. Obviously, the group leader's going to be high up. That doesn't mean it's a fight to be group leader. That's great. Normally, you have to tease out the group leader. Okay, everyone will get the opportunity to be group leader, group co-leader, exception. Okay. I've covered the reflective portfolio. What we're looking for, okay, are those elements there. The purpose of it, the idea, critically, as you would expect, reflective thinking, okay, and a defined conclusion. What did you get from that module? Did it achieve what you set out to achieve? Some people absolutely give feedback points within that to us, okay, and say, I like these elements I didn't think were absolutely relevant to my practice. Okay, that's fine as well. You're being critically reflective upon your journey. Okay, I've covered that. Within the university, so there's our divide up for all of the 6 modules. Within the university, we operate within those bounds. Okay, so the pass mark, and you may take a breath in, you may not, you may smile. The pass mark is 40% and above. Okay, you've passed. 40% and above overall for the module. So all of those elements, okay, the mean, okay, the average of those, have you got 40%? That's a pass. Okay, but we're rarely in this level on these courses. What's commented on is the high level of student performance. Well, of course, these are self-selecting. You are self-selecting students. You sort out this degree for whatever your motivational factors are. A lot of them are professional CPD development opportunities. Okay, so people don't just want to pass. They want to be up at the higher end. So as it's masters, we use distinction. We use pass, merit, distinction, fail. Pass, merit, distinction terminology, distinctions above 70% and merits between 60 and 69. Okay? So you have a course director. Okay? At the university, you have a course leader who the university liaises with. That course leader comes to me. I'm course leader at the university for a lot of the courses. Okay? But diploma, learner, also employ course directors, experts in their field within your clinical chosen course. Okay, they are coordinating, overseeing all of that process and have a moderating role. You may have the course director, okay, who is tutoring on the course as well. Okay, that'll be evident to see because you'll have a message from your course director on the Moodle page. Okay, so marks and feedback are normally provided within 20 working days. Okay, so release of results following overall module evaluation. That's a university rule that we have to get the marks to you within 20 days, and marks are ratified by university examination boards. So we hold examination boards here at the university. Okay, and my final point, support. Okay, loads of it. Okay, absolutely loads of it. Okay, you have all of the elements of the university, and you put on top of that the benefit of a collaborative program. Okay, is you have all of the team at Learner. Okay, there for you. Okay, like I said, this is a big university where telephone calls, emails can come into, and it can take a time to find its way to the right place. Okay, I'm not criticising the university. I just realise it's being recorded. Okay, that's just the size. Okay, there's a campus in Cardiff, there's a campus in Newport, there's this campus here. Okay, there's courses from drama, okay, to medical science. Okay, when you contact Learner, and please, they're your first point call, they know instantly who you are, what course you're on, what cohort you're in. Okay, and then if there's something required at the university, we can filter that through. Okay, so a plea is, okay, because we do have it sometimes, okay, don't send an email straight to the university or a telephone call to the university, go to your student support team at Learner. Thank you very much. Okay. I've got other elements coming in the next presentation.